Hi, my name is Glenn Hasselman. Just making this video for the free accounting software users to show you guys how to change your business management systems ID for single touch payroll. So under the setup there's a page called My Business Details, and on that page there's a title called Advanced Identifiers. This title pane is collapsed by default, so if you just click on it, it'll expand it and show you the business management systems ID. So when you create a business, it generates a random series of letters and numbers, and that's the business management systems ID. You might want it to be something other than that, though. And what it's used for is that the business management systems ID together with the employee ID is used to notify the ATO of a unique employee record for the purposes of income statements. So if you report the same employee under different business management systems IDs, then it will create a duplicate income statement. That might be what you want to do if you have two different payroll systems, but with our users mainly being micro businesses, generally it's not what you want. So I've done a previous video where I showed how to change the employee ID, and I showed this in the previous video, and this is what it would look like to your employee to have duplicate income statements. They would have the one employer and they would have the two income statements. Now I have to stress that this is the employee's view. When you log into your business portal, you don't get to see this information. You actually just see that a record that the payroll was lodged, and that's it. So if they expand that, they can see the employer ABN, the BMS ID that was used, and the employee number. Okay, and these are the two numbers that work together to create a unique record. If either of them is different, it creates a duplicate record. So if you want to change your BMS ID, you need to have a way to notify the ATO of the change so they can move that previous income statement record into the new ID. Now in this video I'm going to show you how to do that. So first of all, we need to keep a record of this old BMS ID. So I'm just going to copy that, and I guess let's just start up Notepad and paste it into there. The reason being, I don't want to, and perhaps even save that somewhere, because I don't want to accidentally forget that number. You can still find it. It is in the record of the previous lodgements, but in any case, we'll keep it handy over there. So then after you've done that, you can actually just change this BMS ID to what you want and click Save. Now that will be the BMS ID used on future STP lodgements. However, we still need to tell the ATO of the change so that they can fix up those income statements. So to do that, we go back and we create a batch, and this is actually going to get lodged as a payroll batch. So click New Batch and give it a name. Now the batch period, it's just notifying the ATO of the details at a point in time, so we just select all the same date and click Save. Now we need to notify the employee of we need to notify the ATO of all employees that this applies to. So this doesn't just blanket apply to all previous uses of the old BMS ID. No, it only is going to update the employees which we put onto this batch. So we have to add a payslip for them all. So go to transactions, new payslip, and select the employee. Now we don't want any pay on this payslip. We'll get an error if we try to do that. So I'm just going to select that line and delete it. Now there's nothing else we have to add to this except that we should review all the information, because this is all being sent to the ATO, including these year-to-date amounts. So we need to make sure that is correct and then click save. We can go back to the transactions and see that that employee is listed there now. I've only got one employee set up in this business, but if you had more, you need to add every affected employee. Once you've done that, go to the STP lodge page, and this is where we need the previous system ID. I haven't put the full term there. Perhaps I'll change that. It's called BMS, or Business Management System ID. So we'll just get that from where we previously saved it and paste it into here. Scroll down, tick the box to agree to the declaration, select the machine credential, and we don't have the lodge button enabled because this is just updating the ATO. We've got this update process that it goes through is pretty much the same. So the batch has been sent to the ATO. The ATO will process it, and the software will poll the ATO at certain intervals to see if they've processed it. And you should get the green OK message. And yeah, you'll have to check back to make sure you get the green OK message. Otherwise, you wouldn't know whether it's actually been successfully processed or not. And yeah, so just to show you the pay slip, I mean, this is not a pay slip that you would give to the employee. I mean, you could, but there's no actual payment occurring here. Down the bottom here, there is the BMS ID and the employee ID. So we've now got the new BMS ID, and we've got the new employee ID from the previous video.